Ready?
Hello and welcome to Rhythm and Pixels Chat. Hi everybody. This is the chat episode of the podcast where me and Pernell hang out. Every week we normally talk about, we listen to video game music, and this is a video game music podcast.
It is.
But what happened was the first 30 minutes of those episodes was just you and I hanging out and talking.
We were riffing.
And I thought, hey, let's actually do an episode. Let's split it up and do it this way. I should also say this is our 10th year of the podcast. Pretty amazing, right?
It's disturbing, yet also alluring.
Alluring?
Yes.
That's not the word I was thinking of using.
Well, I don't know. For some reason, it just feels like me thinking about that, it makes me want to learn, like revisit it more. Like 10 years.
10 years. So
I got to dig deeper into this.
Okay, so I am an exhausted father of a 3-year-old. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to do a big celebration episode. We're going to celebrate the whole year long by having just like little things. We should probably like set up what we're going to talk about for these episodes. It usually comes pretty naturally.
It's generally just dialogue, which admittedly this episode, I mean, there are elements such as the 2025, which I guess is going to be the main topic too, but 2025 gaming, and then you have just like general gaming memories or con memories or dreams of the future.
Dreams of the future. I like that. But yeah, I thought that we would celebrate the 10 years of the show just over this entire year. So next week on talking to the listeners, next week on our classic music episode, I actually have a special little gift for Pernell.
Oh, interesting.
But I thought maybe we could spend a little time talking about the past 10 years tonight.
Yeah, it's kind of funny too, because I think about it. I'm not sure how I feel about the last 10 years, because like if you like the best way to describe it is like if you could hammer out your life in 10 years, the trajectory over 10 years.
Well, I thought maybe okay, our personal lives are definitely intertwined with the show, but maybe we can just talk about how the show has evolved over 10 years. And I'll tell you this. I went back and listened to like the last like maybe 3 or 4 years of shows here and there. Hasn't changed a whole lot.
I was about to say, like, if anything, you'd be the one with info on that, because anything that likely changed would have been from how you recorded.
No, but it's funny. I've kind of kept things like pretty much the same. Some episodes, you and I come in with so much energy where whatever format we usually do this show is completely out the door. Mm-hmm. But most of the time it isn't. It's usually kind of focused. Mm-hmm. But we've had a lot of guests. And last year, we had more guests than not.
I'm actually surprised to hear that, because that's when we tapered down.
We did, but we were recording once a month, and every month someone wanted to do the show with us.
We still have Gonzalo Varela still.
I know. I honestly don't have a lot of bandwidth to manage a guest right now, and I felt good to like, I'm just going to hang out and talk with my buddy for a night. Let's kind of come back around on this before we go back to having guests again. But can you think of some of your favorite guests that we've had on the show?
Well, I just stated one of them.
Yeah, Gonzalo Varela.
Yeah.
We've had him. We've only had him once, right?
Yeah, but I had a talk with him on SML 2 months ago.
Yeah, one time, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and you still have a relationship with him online.
That's right.
That's great.
Which is hilarious, because I really don't even have him on any social media. It's just coincidentally, he contributed composition to Neon Inferno, and the review code came through. I learned that. I was like, oh, wow, Gonzalo's on here. That guy's great. And then it came down the pike where they were like, hey, if you guys would like, we can get you on the horn for an interview with the development team. And I pushed back and said, only if Gonzalo can be on it too. So the guy goes, well, let me find out. So he goes and says, hey, there's this podcast we're going to do an interview for, but they specifically asked about you. The guy named Pernell. He's like, oh, yeah, Pernell. And he's like, I want to talk to Pernell. It's been a while. And that's what he said back. And that's what they said in the email. So I was like, oh, there it is. So it's like nothing's changed.
Yeah, I love having guests on who are just passionate about what they're doing. I would say some of my favorites are, because of that, Shell Wong. Mm-hmm. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's so good. We've had her on a long time. She's been a guest on our show maybe 5 or 6 times.
And still some hilarious small worlding. I told you about the guy that knows her.
So we met some guy through our board game group. You went to this party not knowing anybody, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know this person."
I'm familiar with Shell Wong. I was like, "How do you know her?" Like, well, you know.
So yeah, she's one of my favorite guests. Chris Weisner, actually, I love having Chris Weisner on the show. He's just super easygoing, very talkative, someone who's just very passionate about games and RPGs and specifically.
Oh yeah, I love having him on. He's one of my favorites. It doesn't hurt also that it does bring back nostalgia for the turn-based critics. So he'll go hard on RPGs. I'm like, man, don't bring that guy back out of me.
And then there were some of the guests that we had that were like kind of on my list. So there was Dedeco, who is a DJ from Argentina, no, Brazil. He's from Brazil, and he mixes video game music, club style, for parties and clubs. And I'm not sure if I shared that on our Discord, but like he actually played a music festival recently where he played nothing but video game music. And it was amazing.
I appreciate when people do that because I always had. I mean, I think we're well past the point where this isn't a thing anymore. But
yeah, it's true.
I used to tell myself it would be really awesome for a DJ to play a club and only play video game music and have people who have no idea what VGM is dance it up. Like, this is amazing.
But he's actually doing it, and it's really impressive. And for the music that doesn't actually have the correct kind of arrangement or format of dance music, he actually does his own remixes and edits of those songs, and then puts them. It's just it's really, really impressive what he does. So he was like one of the big ones on my list. Having the Legacy Music Hour on our show, Brent and Rob, like ages ago, but like they were the first ones to have to do a podcast for video game music, and they only have an episode once a month now, and
but they're still at it.
And Rob, I know, is in Portland, but Brent is still doing comedy, and I think he's in California. I should share one of his last comedy special online is crazy. It's really weird.
But entertaining weird. I need to call the cops.
But he's got a very specific sense of humor.
Is it dry?
It's no. Well, it is. He delivers it very dry, but it's very strange.
Okay. I'll have to give that a check sometime.
One of the highlights for me was the very end of the special where because he plays piano. He plays piano amazing. He's like a jazz pianist. And so he talks to the audience and says, if you play what was it? If you play Hanukkah music or play like music for Hanukkah in a major scale, it sounds like Christmas music. And so he played like all these weird like songs on the piano. It was really funny. Yeah, it was great. It was really, really great. So I enjoyed that.
Well, I will say there was that one pair you had on last year. It was I'm not going to get the name right, but it was like an orchestral group. It wasn't the Smash Brothers, though I remember liking them too.
Oh, they were great. Yeah,
maybe I am thinking.
Yeah, last year we had on the New Jersey Gamer Symphony Orchestra.
Oh no, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
Vicky's awesome.
Yeah,
and Alesso too.
Yeah, I like them a lot. But you said we had some other folks on?
Yeah, it was a duo, and it might actually be them that I'm thinking about.
Oh yeah,
it was a duo that would play Smash Brothers tournaments.
Yeah, up in New York.
Yeah, and they would do it on the fly based on what the battles were at the time or what level they were playing on.
Those were surprising to me. They reached out to us, and anytime anybody reaches out to us, you're on the show immediately. Yeah, because we don't get a lot of feedback all the time, and so it's nice to hear that. So they were actually awesome. Like, again, passionate about what they were doing, and like I'm happy to tailor the show towards the music that they were playing.
Yeah, they were good.
They were very good. I enjoyed that a lot. I mean, like, we're not gamer historians, and like the uppercase G, uppercase H gamer historians. So we're not.
Well, I'd like to be. No, I wouldn't.
So yeah, would I love to have people like Tim Fallon and all this David Wise on the show? That'd be great. Yeah, but they wouldn't want to be on a show like ours. And,
whoa, slow down there, sir.
And also, I'm not prepared to to interview.
But that's the thing. That's why I'm saying you gotta slow down. That's you're taking it from the angle you don't even need to. So what? Let's say David Wise came on the show. Who says he has to come on to be interviewed about his career?
Yeah, we can just talk about.
We just want to say, yo, David Wise is on. What do you like to eat on your cheesesteak? He doesn't care.
I was literally going to make that joke. I was like, we just sit around and talk about cheesesteaks.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of times, again, I'm speaking from my own personal opinion.
Yeah.
I can't get in these guys' heads, but I feel like a lot of these guys would love to come on to a show and just riff. Like, I don't want to just be here and be interviewed about my life again.
Yeah.
I want to just have fun with strangers.
By a bunch of like older like white nerds from America being like, hey, tell me about this thing. I would love to have the guy who made the original Wipeout soundtrack, the old 96 OST, Cold Storage. I would love to talk to him about his music because he's been re-releasing some of his tracks and remastering some of his tracks from that era. And that music specifically, and then like the licensed music from the later games, very much so, but that game really introduced me to electronic music and dance music in a time where I was so heavily into the grunge scene in the 90s.
I just realized something.
It was nice to get into dance music and really expand my horizons. What's up?
I've done this before with SML, but I think I should do this, dig deeper with it, where I just ask absurd questions based off of facts. So I'd be like, David Wise would be like, so what I've come from based on internet polls and general, inquiries, it seems as though one of your most popular or famous compositions is Aquatic Ambiance from Donkey Kong Country. So I want to pivot from that to ask you, use that as a jumping off point to ask you, what is the spiciest thing you've ever eaten? And you're like, what? Like, yeah, that's what I want to know. I want to know, what have you eaten that's spicy? And did you like it?
Yeah, on my list is still to do an entire episode of just aquatic ambience remixes because there's so many.
They're out there. Where was I? I was somewhere not too long ago.
You're at MAGFest. I'm sure you heard it at MAGFest.
That's probably where it was too.
Yeah.
'Cause I was walking, and my friend goes, "That's aquatic ambience." Like, oh God, again? That was what I said. Like, again with that song? It's everywhere.
It's great. It's a great song. It's really cool. It's just kind of,
But think about it like this:
Donkey Kong Country is so stinking popular.
And that's fine,
Yeah.
but
so everyone knows it is all I'm trying to get at.
But it goes back to the Storm Eagle-isms from before. Which admittedly, I haven't heard that in eons, but we've had so many games and so many sequels to those games over the years, and yet I'm still walking through a con going, is that aquatic ambiance? Like, I feel like there's a lot of games that just don't get due because the classics just hold on to things and won't let go.
All right, let's okay. We're older guys, right? Let's go back to someone in their 30s. Someone maybe even in their 20s, late 20s.
Oh, I'm back.
Okay.
Or 40s.
They learn about classic video games and they get obsessed with it in the way that when I was in high school, I got really, really into classic video games, which for me was Atari.
Okay.
And they're like, oh my gosh, the Super Nintendo was really cool. Like I was clearly born too late, right? And suddenly they're going back and discovering for themselves all the amazing music from these older games. And so now for them, it's so new and it's so exciting. And they go to MAGFest and it's just, they're surrounded by it. Like, I get the enthusiasm for it. I totally get it.
Oh, I never didn't get the enthusiasm. It's less that and more like, so counter that.
But it's something, let me just finish my thought.
Okay.
It's like going to a music festival and hearing your favorite music times 50. Because you're going to a festival and hearing amazing music that has this historical context that everyone's like sharing, No,
and I never disagree with that. I get that. In fact, it kind of aligns with what I'm thinking.
Okay, yeah.
Though the answer to this might literally just be MAGFest is run by old people. But I think of it more akin to saying, yeah, you had that nostalgia for these old games, but despite that, the games that generally influence your taste are the ones you literally grew up with. The ones you played when they were new. They were in the social zeitgeist. Everybody was in this around the water cooler, air quotes, talking about that hot new Sonic game. You heard music through those games. And those are the tracks that were influential. That's why Aquatic Ambiance is where it is. Because in our generation, Donkey Kong Country was a big deal. the music in it was a big deal.
It was a big deal.
And it was good.
I'll tell you this. It was a big deal to everyone but me.
Because you were a Sega kid,
I was a Sega boy, and when I saw it, I thought, don't look too great. Not my thing. Sorry, guys. All right, this is in my mind, right? It was junior high, after school. Was it after school? Might have been after, maybe on the weekend. Me and my friends, we would walk to the Concord Mall, go into the Sears.
Load-bearing tassels will love hearing that.
Yeah, that dude, I'm assuming dude is...
He's a local.
Is local.
I've recently learned this.
We would go to the Concord Mall. We used to go to the Concord Mall all the time and just, like, do nothing. When there was an arcade, we used to do that. But before that, after that, we'd do nothing. We'd go to the Sears. We would walk up to the second floor where the electronics section was, and they would have a setup for Super Nintendo, for new games coming out. And that's where I first saw Donkey Kong Country. And I thought to myself, I don't care about that.
Wow.
Unbelievable, right?
I mean, actually, with that said, it
didn't look good.
It's not too unbelievable, because I can see why a person wouldn't. And I'm going to finish my point, I promise. Okay. But I get why you...
I'm going to keep interrupting you. I'm so sorry.
That's part of the fun, right?
But yeah, anyway, a little Wilmington references for you.
No, but I can get why a person would look at that and feel that way. Partly I did, because at the end of the day, the whole purpose behind Donkey Kong Country was Nintendo trying to tell you, wait for the N64, don't buy a PlayStation. Yeah. Donkey Kong Country looks just as good as a newfangled 3D game. Yeah. And at its core, it was a solid platformer, but it was a basic platformer.
Very basic.
So really, it didn't offer anything special. But with that said, what it offered was tight platforming gameplay. And if you were in for that, you had a fantastic time. But I say that as to point out that it, outside of the washed over graphics they use to try to make it look like it's higher quality technically than it is, it wasn't anything special. But I was like, I like platformers. I like riding animals. And Donkey Kong's cool. I'll buy it. And I had a great time.
I'm wondering if it's just platforming games that maybe I just never, like mascot platformers. Maybe I just never got into them.
Whereas I love them. Always loved them.
I played a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog. But other than that, I think my favorite games, especially like around that era, seeing that, I'm like, Genesis got Gunstar Heroes. Like, that is awesome, you know? And then I see something like that, and I'm like, why do they try to make it look 3D when it's not 3D, and it just looks kind of fuzzy?
Because
when it could just be, like, cartoony. Yeah, they wanted to be...
They wanted it to compete with 3D.
Yeah, it looked 3D.
Yeah, which means mission accomplished. But back to the point, until you change it again. We got to count these.
What was the point?
I've forgotten. So, with that said, though... You know, I think I'm using the wrong word. I say inflection point, so I'm not going to say it. That was the point where it was most influential to us to pick up on these games and have them remain with us well into our adult years.
Yes.
But if you layered it over for generation after generation, what are their games that hit that same mark?
That's right.
Even if they did look back and go, wow, Super Nintendo was a thing I missed out on. Nonetheless, they grew up on PlayStation or Saturn or GameCube or whatever. Yeah. I don't want to think about that, but they have had kids grow up on GameCube and PS2s.
I saw my nephew Nate, and he waxes nostalgic about like Battlefield and stuff like that.
Was just
in the same way that we wax nostalgic about like Super Mario. Yeah,
I feel like he got cheated. Battlefield. But so in that regard, it becomes a matter of like if those people came to a convention that was tailored towards video gaming, I would think, and if anything, there might even be a list out there where people have compiled this, but what are their most noted influential games from their era and the music from those games that would make them go, holy crap, is that aquatic ambiance? Like, that same thing. Maybe there's a person out there that's like, oh my God, that's that track from Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. Okay. I grew up with that game.
Well, when I first saw Steel Samurai, I forget where it was, one of the
Your Dreams,
Too Many Games or something, and they played He played the unused track from Gimmick for the NES, which never even came out in North America. And I was like, oh, they know that song, the unused track from Gimmick that wasn't even released in the States.
Well, they were on it. They got an album coming out this month.
I definitely was like, yes, that's just good music. That's just good music played by good musicians, right?
Yeah, that's them. That's Steel Samurai in a nutshell. They are stellar band.
Oh, they all rock. They're all so good.
I guess I just should fix that because this comes out next month, I think.
This will come out. This episode will be out in
February
next week.
Oh, next week?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I am so off. So in that case, I'm still right. They have a new album coming up this month.
That's how close I'm cutting it. Just
yay. Yeah, they have a new album coming out next month.
Oh, awesome.
At the end of this month. So, yeah, get in on that, people.
Get in on that. As far as like the game music community at large goes, we're small fish in that pond. But it's nice to know that we're still involved and we know these people.
But MAGFest was pretty cool, though, in that regard, to be kind of dove into that.
I'm going to call you out. Your Facebook posts about MAGFest was like, every time I saw you post about it, I was like, he had a good time. Begrudgingly had a good time.
I mean, that's an accurate depiction.
Every post was like, I sat there by myself. I was going to eat dinner by myself, but here's a picture of me with 20 friends.
That's honestly what happened.
Because people probably saw you and they're like, hey, it's Pernell, get him.
Well, like friend Deanna spotted me and was like, hey, Pernell, is that you? I was like, hey. So I got up and sat with her, and then her friends came around and I hung out with all of them. But yeah, I've just been very, very generally like antisocial / apathetic. Not in the sense where I just like sit in the dark doing nothing, but just more like I don't want to be around a lot of people or people in general, so I just have my games.
And so you went to like one of the biggest conventions on the East Coast.
Well, admittedly, I did that because, one, I already had the panel thing set up, which admittedly I could have just bailed on it, but I don't do that.
I mean, like
and then two,
you had to be active in order to be in these things.
Yeah, but I made those plans months ago. But then the other thing was I was judging for the MegaCat Game Studios Indie Game Showcase, so I wanted to be there to see the winner because I had to play like 15 or 16 indie games and then weight them in the thing I hate the most, numeric rating in 3 categories.
Yeah, I know.
And I basically was like, okay, well, I'm going to take the game that I know I want to win, and I'm going to give it some scores that indicate and reflect that. And then I'm going to scale back from there. So that's how I chose my ratings. But I wanted to go and make sure to see if the person was there. And they were. The winner received their kudos for having the best game of the show. It was like me and like 8 other judges or so. Some of them didn't make it. Like I didn't see T. Lopez, even though he was on the judging panel too, which makes me kind of sad.
That's somebody I would love to.
I would have loved to have met
on the show too. Right?
Be there. Oh yeah, he'd probably totally come on the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was on the panel as a judge, and a couple other people. I met a few of them, and I did meet the guy who made the game. Awesome dude. And just kind of talked shop about games, my interest in games, and where they come from, and I ended up in a tournament for that same company that I was dragged into, and I won despite having never played the game.
What game was that? You mentioned that.
It was an indie game called like Justice Duel, where you're playing as former U.S. presidents in a game of joust with ostriches across like Arlington Cemetery and like legislature halls. And this.
So it was the game Joust, kind of.
Well, it was joust in the sense that you had the whole bird flapping mechanic.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you fired guns and they had like power-ups and stuff.
That's awesome. I love Joust. When the barcade that was near us, 1984, was still open, I played that nonstop. Because I played that nonstop when I was in high school. I love that. I love Joust.
Joust was awesome.
Joust is such a solid archetype of a game.
And it had some, I didn't realize this because I haven't played it in literal decades, but it had some mind games to it that I didn't even think about.
It's so good.
Is he going to go up? Is he going to go down? I'm going to fire my shot and then see if I can flank him into going into the bullet.
As a 2-player game, it's insanely good. And you could make the argument it is the first platform fighter.
Because it is. What came before it?
Well, I mean, like...
Oh, you mean compared to, like, Smash Bros?
Yeah, it's like the proto Smash Brothers, like, kind of, like, far, far, far removed. But, like, that's the idea, where it's, like, there's lots of things happening on the screen, you're bouncing off the platforms, but ultimately, you kind of want to take out your opponent.
There's no kinda. You do.
But because of the era that it came out in, it was a score chasing game. So it was less about like knocking out because it came out before Street Fighter 2. It was less about knocking out your opponent and more about like how you get a higher score. But it was so much fun. Oh, I love that game.
I gotta say, one
joystick, one button. That's all you need.
No, you need more than that. But at least Joust only needed that. But like, I will say, unexpectedly, my favorite thing at MAGFest this year ties into something that I normally look at as being a slight to myself, which is that I have a bad habit of buying a lot of games.
Yeah.
Because partially the dopamine hit, but also I have this habit of being like, I look forward to playing that. I want to experience that thing. And then I just don't sometimes because I have time. I buy more than I have time for. But when I went to PAX, walking through the indie game showcase area and seeing these developers out there busting their butts and hawking their wares and be like, come over and try my game, da-da-da-da. And I'm walking by going, own that, great game. Fantastic game. I love supporting you. I bought that game a couple months ago. You own this? Like, yeah, I already bought it. I don't need to try your game. I bought it. Fantastic work. Went up to one booth like, I bought your game 2 days ago. Excellent product. I'm glad you made this. Surprised me out of nowhere. And they're like, they get so happy. There's something nice to be said about being able to walk through the vendor hall and going, I think I own 80% of the games here because I just support everybody.
Yeah,
and people are happy that you support their work.
I will say the indie game section is like one of my favorite stuff about MAGFest. The 2-3 times that I went in there with Cameron Childs from the Mad Gear, and I spent so much time in that area with him, just hanging out and like just trying everything that I saw.
So many good games. This year they had that. It's not out yet, so I definitely couldn't have it. But they had that Transylvania Adventure of Simon's Quest game. And it doesn't look like I thought it would. Like, I'm not sure if it's actually going to be like a actual like Castlevania 2-esque where it's an overworld and stuff. But the platforming does look like it'll be a lot of fun. I do wish they didn't keep the freaking stiff Simon Belmont jumping that 2 had. But
there's some. Oh my gosh, yeah. There's something. Is that something you want to maintain? Who knows?
Well, I mean, you got those Mega Man fans who was like, you know what would make Mega Man great? Taking all the cool stuff we added and yanking it out.
All right, before we finish, pivoting onto a tangent, which might pivot onto 2 more tangents. Mike Levy from XVGM Radio, he's got his own YouTube page going on.
He likes Mega Man 3.
Well, he likes Castlevania more than anything.
Yes, he does.
And he did a whole video retrospective and stuff on the Game Boy game, the Castlevania Adventure games, which to me has the worst gameplay of all the Castlevanias.
Wow, they literally mimicked the older ones, except they gave you a fireball.
They mimicked the older ones if the older ones moved twice as slow.
That'll give you.
And focused on
very slow.
And focused on mostly on platforming with a jump that makes you drop faster than anything in the world.
But it still had the same stiff jump, but you can't change the direction. And with that said, the Castlevania Adventure, it did its job at the time. I don't really want to go back and play it anymore. Castlevania 2 Belmont's Revenge is a solid game. I will not accept slander.
Okay, I'll say this. I never played that one, but I've listened to that soundtrack so many times because it's some of the best video game music in general.
Yes.
Ever. Hands down.
So good.
Some of the best music ever is on that soundtrack. Late era Game Boy music is so good. Anyway, I wanted to bring it back around because XVGM Radio is a other recurring guest that we've had on the show as well. Like, I think, and Mike Levy as well, becoming friends and guesting on each other's shows and just collaborating together and boosting each other is a way that we've really got to be involved in the community and grow as kind of a thing.
Just to make sure I'm not misremembering, was that Crisscross? Did we do that last year or was that prior?
It was last year we did one with them.
No, but not one with them. I mean, like there was that one period where they came on and then we went on their show like back to back.
Oh, that was
ages ago.
It does feel like ages and ages ago, but it was just pre my son, so it was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
But one of our first. Maybe the first or second years we did the show.
All the fours.
We did it with, all the fours with VGM. What are they called?
It was VG Embassy but it was Ed and Mike. That was their first recording together.
Pixel Tunes Radio.
Yes.
Pixel Tunes Radio is what that was called. Yeah. So, and they were friends with Emily and Josh, who did the VGM Jukebox.
Yes.
Which have released a new episode. It has been 5 or 6 years since they've released an episode, and they released a Christmas show.
Huh.
And I think I'm putting it, Pernell, you should listen to it.
Why me?
Because they talk about all sorts of things that have gone on in their lives. Emily specifically, which I think is very personal to you.
As in like a similar trajectory?
Yes.
Huh.
Yes.
Maybe I will.
I think you should check it out. So it's very personal. Half the music isn't even video game music, but I didn't realize how much I missed listening to them, hearing their voices.
Yeah.
It's so nice. It's so nice. They got to a point where I feel like the show was demanding too much of them, and just taking a hiatus wasn't enough. They just had to stop. Too much was going on in their personal lives, and they just had to quit.
Yeah.
And I felt very similar in a way, maybe like last year.
Yeah, because you came close to being like, I'm done.
Yeah. I gotta be honest, some days I still do.
Oh, I get it. I 100% get it. Like,
I haven't slept in 3 days. I
will always say this to people. I might make my random quips about child rearing or, well, I'm going to go do my whatever. But the truth of the matter is, like, I can never really comprehend. Well, I can only third party wise.
Yeah, but it's
I can't really comprehend the responsibility of being like, well, I don't get to sleep when I want anymore. I don't get to do anything when I want anymore because it's not about me. It's about my newborn / infant / toddler child, and that takes its toll.
I'll say this: there's a lot of folks out there who have had kids in their 20s or 30s or whatever, and it's like, yeah, you know what? 8-10 years from now, you will have more space for yourself to be yourself, right? To do more things that you're used to doing for yourself. I'm too old for that. I gotta do this right now.
Gotta do it now. Like I think about that a lot too. Like there's a school of thought for that. Because think about it like this, right? When we were in our 20s, well, let me phrase that. You were in your 20s. I was in my 30s, and
you're laughing because we're the exact same age.
That's not so. Don't listen to this guy.
I'm older than you by a number of months.
He's crazy. Don't listen to anything he says. But I remember when you and Christy were like, oh, no, we don't want no kids around. We want to live our lives and be free and go where we want to go. And again, there's nothing wrong with that by any means. Lots of people do that.
Yep.
But you think about something like, it came up with my mom when she passed away and my current relationship with my dad now even, where they had us early and young. We're talking like my dad was probably like 17. And my mom was like 18 or 19.
Wow.
Like they had us young, at least Darnell. And I came a little later than that. They had us young, which means they didn't have a lot of that me time in the 20s to go and do whatever they wanted. They were raising kids, right? But their kids hit their 20s when they were going into their early 40s, late 30s, which means now they have their 40s and 50s, if they wanted anyway, to be like, well, as long as my kids don't just backslide, we kind of get our time here. And the trade-off, the bonus to that, which a lot of us at that era didn't understand, and for good reason, because you want to live your freaking life, is that now at that point, you get to kind of coexist with your now adult children and have a whole new relationship with them. Whereas in your current shoes, and heaven help me, I end up having a freaking kid someday. We'll be in our 60s and 70s when they're in their 20s. Like, hey kid, you want to throw the old soccer bop around? Which I will admit, at least should make you want to be healthier longer.
Yeah, it definitely encourages me to be more. I mean, I've always been a healthy guy, but like, definitely want to be there as involved as I can for as long as I can. But when I think about the age difference of when he's an adult and wanting to have the adult relationship with my son, I try not to think about it too hard. And I'm being 100% just
you haven't plotted the embarrassing home movies to show your kids friends when he's like in his early 20s.
There are so many people out there online who just talk about like, oh, my parents are older and it's embarrassing and this and that and this and that. I'm like, yeah, parents are supposed to be embarrassing, whatever, but I don't want to hold him back, and I want.
But what do you mean by holding him back?
I don't want to be like, we're not going to be doing these fun things when you're younger to create these memories because I can't do it physically, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's like I don't want my identity to be old guy dad. I just want to be the
old
father,
guy
the
who
father.
happens to be a father.
The father happens to be older, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that to say, I try not to think about it too hard because I have a lot of personal hang-ups on my father, right? Because I didn't get to really have an adult relationship with him.
Yeah.
So now that I've like kind of created that opportunity for myself, I'm like, I'm not going to lose it.
Yeah, that's a good way to be.
Yes.
You can easily maintain, I may be misphrasing this, but I genuinely believe you should have no problem maintaining your sense of self while also being a father when appropriate. Meaning, you might, heaven forbid, you're 60 still like, man, this band I want to hear, this guy's DJing over here, I'm going to take my walk over there and check it out. Like,
I've made my peace with that. I've never wanted to go out at night. I've had plenty of opportunities to go and party and to pursue my own career as a DJ. I love the music. I've never done it. I don't care.
Don't care.
I don't care. In fact, today, this is my heyday. The majority of people who love dance music don't go to raves. They watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, I've heard about that. The clubs are fading.
Yeah, I mean, like, I want people to go out there, do their thing, have fun. I want there to be an active underground scene. I want to be for them. I want to be there for them here.
It's not for Rob Robson.
So I'm putting out my basement.
Oh yeah.
No, it's
well,
great.
whatever thing you would do though, you could still technically be doing that. But every once in a while, like, hey son, what you got going on this afternoon? You want to grab a Coke and catch up?
Yeah.
Like you can do those things, and you can still be like, look, I'm doing my own thing. But because you drove me crazy here and there as a kid, this is my opportunity to say, here's my son trying to take a bath and splashing water all over the place. Drove me freaking crazy. But now I can make fun of him a little bit for it. I don't know. I don't know if I'd even ever do that if I had a kid. But there's a part of me that feels like there's a certain element of hilarity to be like, yep, here, just like when you give a roast at a wedding. It's like, here's the toast. Like, I got to tell some dopey stories about my friend here. Same logic.
I don't think I would because I think like a 20-year-old would be like, oh, my parents are going to talk about that story again when I was in the bath and splashed water. I don't remember any of it and I don't care. But for some reason, it meant a lot to them. And it's fine. It's like, it's about him and it's more about him and less about me.
Yes.
Which is what's important and it's what makes the work satisfying and it feels important. It makes me also appreciate doing what I am doing because I wouldn't do it otherwise. And I wouldn't have chosen it otherwise.
You're here.
And I'm fortunate to have chosen it. So,
and it's actually,
we should probably finish this episode.
I guess I don't even know how much time it's passed. We've just been chatting. How long have we been recording?
Almost 40 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, can you believe that?
It doesn't even feel like it. We even talk about our favorite games of the year or anything.
No, that's next episode. It's fine.
But that's just bringing the tracks on.
Dude, do you think I play video games?
Yeah, that's the hilarity of it.
I don't
even know what the hell you picked.
The joke of the gosh darn century is that I host a video game podcast and I don't play video games.
Yeah,
I don't.
And I co-host a podcast and I don't pod.
You don't pod at all.
I don't even pod.
I don't judge you for that. and that's perfectly fine. Now, yeah, I play. I am the phone gamer. When I first had Ollie in 2023, what did I play? Vampire Survivors.
You probably still play.
No. I got done with that, and then I didn't start Balatro until this year in April when my niece showed me it, and I became obsessed with it. And guess what?
What?
I have never heard the music of the game in my life.
For Balatro?
Never heard it. Never even sought it out. I don't know what it sounds like.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I mean, you can easily remedy that because there's like a whopping 2 tracks in the entire game.
I know there's music, but I'm not going to turn the music on. I'm laying in bed.
There's music. I'm saying there are only 2 music tracks in the entire game.
But anyway, the same thing with like Vampire Survivors. I probably played it for like 6 months and was like, I should probably explore the soundtrack now.
Yeah, I cannot play a game without the music.
No, and for me, like anywhere else is so important. When I played this past year, I did play Hollow Knight,
Yes.
which is not a recent game, obviously. But
Did you finish it? I forget.
I never went back to it. I'm not going to. I'd have to rebuild the coordination skills to get better again to fight the bosses.
You never lose them.
I would never lose.
You
what?
never lose them.
No, I do.
They're embedded.
You're better than I am. Then I can't do it.
That's all I ever wanted to hear.
I have to relearn everything. So no. It's fine. It's. I'm not going to finish it. In my mind, I did finish the game.
See, it's funny too because I think about
credits didn't roll. No, I finished it.
Because I mean, admittedly, if you're done with a game, and that in my mind that can't count as I finished.
Totally
it.
finished.
My time is done.
I did it. I did a lot in the game. I did more than you did.
Well, let's not be nuts here. It might not be true anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I did more, and I was handsomer at it.
Oh, okay. Now we're getting.
And I smelled better, and I was taller.
All right, now we're going crazy. This is crazy talk. Like I think about that sometimes because I bounce around games often. Like I'll put down a game and come back. Like I dropped Octopath Traveler in 2021.
Granted, there's like how many hours worth of content in that game?
Too much.
Yeah,
but like I dropped it and then came back to it at the end of last year and like just demolished it in the course of like 3 weeks. Don't know why. It just happened, and nothing had to be relearned. I just knew all the hicks. And what I realized is that certain games have that ability. Like if it's a platform that has the traditional pogo jumping, double jump, air dash, blah, 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 that means the only thing you really have to relearn is whatever equipment / level up system the game had. Other than that, it's just like riding a bike. RPGs where they don't go and break the mold on how stat games work or whatever, which Octopath clearly doesn't, go right back in. It's like you never fell off the bike. Maybe the narrative is over here, but who the hell cares anymore? You're just trying to finish it now. But then there are other games where they were like the experimental games. Like if you ever play Yggdra Union and put that game down and want to come back, good friggin' luck. That game has ass backwards systems to it. I don't understand it. Still don't understand it. Nights in the Nightmare, similar weirdness to it. There are a number of games. If I can't remember them off the top, but if I sat down and like did a deep dive mentally, there's a bunch of games where like, I can't beat.
What it comes down to is that personally, you have like core skills.
Yes,
that just aren't going away.
Yes. Yeah. And I believe you do too. You're just downplaying them.
They're there. No, they're there. They're there. But the level of coordination that I need of those skills, I need to build back up again. And I don't have the patience for it.
And even poppin' music. That happened. At MAG, I went and played a poppin' machine. And of course, I'll never be the pros. That's just... That ship has never been on. That's never been left port.
As good as much as I play my games, ITG and DDR, I know that there's like a level that's like it's just farther down the future.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, no, that's the difference. You say it's farther down the future. I'm saying it's impossible. I know where there's a ceiling that I'm not passing. With that said, though, it felt kind of cool to go on and be like. It took me maybe 2 or 3 songs before I was like, okay, let me beat this level 37. Oh, crap, I still got the cop. But then the problem is now my fingers get like bruised up when I'm done. And I don't know how these people do it.
Because you hit things way harder than everybody else.
That might be
I'll never forget, you came over to play on my pad at the old house. And I was like, yeah, go ahead. It takes a lot of weight. It's no problem. Yeah. And you stomped so hard. I was like,
get off my pad.
Well, the whole thing was like tilting left and right. And I was like, wait a minute.
This isn't normal.
This isn't normal on this thing. Well, I also don't have the legs on it. So it's just flat on the ground. So it's going to move around.
Yeah. One thing I don't have is a feather touch on these games.
Yeah. I slide. I don't step. I slide.
And I try to do that, and sometimes I can, but when a song is like, hit the buttons quickly and move around a lot, I'm pretty much running. I'm not feather touching.
I want to mention, before the episode's done, I listened to your playlist from the last Morning Rush episode, which I hope the listeners are enjoying. It was awesome. And you played some music from Pump.
Yes.
It was crazy good.
Yeah, that Pump song is my baby. That's become like the one I have to play every session.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to beat the double 16 on it.
It sounds like it would be really good. It sounds like the patterns would be really, really good.
It's a very fun pattern. It's just my big hiccup for that one is not the complexity of the arrows. It's just the stamina to do it all.
Yeah, listening to it. It's like 16th notes all the way through.
Yes, that's kind of what it is.
Stamina. Yeah.
And with that said, though, watching people play that at MAGFest makes me want to kick rocks because they got cats there bopping up those 3s and 4 arrows, and they do this bracketing, what they pretty much told me they do.
You have to, yeah.
It's all bracketing, but even still, it's like having the mental ability to go.
Bracketing, for people listening, is using your foot to hit 2 at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it becomes an issue of telling yourself, okay, I need to be able to be aware of the fact that when I see that coming up, I'm going to stagger my foot like that. It's like,
yeah. I'll say in 4-panel ITG, bracketing is part of the core technical gameplay now. There's foot switches, which is hit the same panel with different feet, keep the rhythm going. But bracketing
like this, like stepping on the same thing by using your left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot.
Like left, up, right. Or left, down, right.
Oh, okay.
So without double stepping, you kind of like, but it's tough because you have to lift your foot up and your next foot down in order to trigger it. Otherwise, you're just holding it down the whole time. So it's a whole skill, but bracketing as a whole has completely
bonkers
changed the game because it's like now you have 4 more arrows, essentially patterns to put into the patterns. And it's really, really, I can't get my head around it.
And it's doubly weird because of how the sensors work.
But maybe, my pad's not, because I mod my own stuff, so I can do it. But in the arcade, where like the pads are so much deeper,
like your feet have to kind of scrap over the edges of both ends. It's like, this is annoying.
It's crazy, but yeah. So on mine, I know I can do it, but maybe because I've played for so long, it's hard to relearn habits, and so that's one thing I'm like. Maybe I'll stick to just straight stamina, where I don't have to worry about bracketing and just worry about staying alive.
But I will say this about me compared to those knuckleheads, though. Not in an insult way, just a knucklehead.
No, a lot of the stamina players are pump players, and they compete. A couple of them won the tournaments at TMG and at MAGFest.
Beast of the East.
Yeah.
I was the only person there that I saw anyway that actually did full motion. What I mean by that, not even referring to just holding the bar, though it's pretty much holding the bar, but doing doubles and spinning and like actually moving both of my legs, stepping across the machine. I'm like, no one does this. Like, no one does it.
Yeah.
I thought it was like some people do and some people don't. No one does that anymore.
Because the only way to reach the higher echelons is to minimize everything. So you're not going to see people do that at the higher levels.
In that game, it makes it a lot easier in that game for me to go, I'll never get there, because at that point, I don't even think the game would be enjoyable for me anymore.
It's just different. It's just different.
That's what I mean. I would have to change how I play. And you also got to remember, that bar, for me, I'd give myself a hernia. The way I'd have to lean back to hold that thing.
Yeah, I'll say this. The new, so my pad which is behind you, is the Step Maniacs pad. The new ones you can buy now have adjustable height.
That would need that.
Because there's a lot of players that are shorter, and there's a few players that are taller, and so they change them. And then for a lot of stamina players, what we do, I say we, but I'm planning on doing, is they take PVC pipe and they attach it to the top so that it's wider.
I'd even go one step further. They may just go the extra mile, put the bar in the front of the dang machine, just like hold it like a bicycle.
Honestly, the only requirement we have to make it a legitimate score, like pad score, is the size of the center panel. Everything else can be changed.
Modding. Put wings on it.
It could be anything. It doesn't matter. People make pads that are this big, made out of paper, but as long as the center panel is the same size, it doesn't matter.
The era when the pad was made out of like plastic and it's danced across the floor with you.
Yeah, the little soft pads. Okay, we're going to finish this up. We're going to move on to our next recording. But thank you, everybody, for listening to this show, and we'll see you next time.